Correspondent in Dallas. Good morning, Jim.
Morning, McGraw. You know, you've probably heard about skimming. Remember the phenomenon we saw just a couple of years ago? You would skim your card, swipe your card at a gas pump or at a convenience store, an ATM, and occasionally, if somebody had put a special device, a scammer had put a skimming device onto that unit, you'd lose your identity and potentially end up costing you a lot of money from your bank account, either from the debit or from the credit cards. So the credit card companies instituted the little microchips onto your cards. Now you insert that thing, then you enter your PIN or whatever the transaction is, pull the card out and walk away, thinking that nothing bad has happened. Unfortunately, McGraw, something bad might have happened.
Now that we all have the chips in our credit cards, the bad guys have figured out a way around it. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, they've created what is called a shim. They put this little device into the unit that you're sliding your card into, and it has an embedded microchip of its own and a flash storage unit, which will collect your data. Once you slide your card in, enter your PIN, then the scammer comes back later, collects that thing, pulls it out of the machine, walks away with it, and has what we assume to be a slew of card data from different users. So, yeah, it's not a completely safe way of doing transactions. It kind of points up the importance, perhaps, of using your phone as your payment device. Increasingly, stores are accepting that out there, McGraw.
Yeah. How big of a problem is this?
Hard to say. Since this card, the chip is more recent than the magnetic stripe. Magnetic stripe was really open to that sort of thing because that was kind of old technology. I think that this now is just kind of catching up, and it might not have been reported as much because people figure, well, that couldn't have happened to me. It must have been stolen out of my account some different way because I've got a chip on my card.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell how often this is happening at all. We do know there was a record 15.4 million victims of identity theft in 2016. Some of it presumably from chip theft.
You know, they spent a lot of money on infrastructure. You have to get all new machines and all new programming codes and all new cards. And, you got to have the chip, and you got to switch over to the chip. And now you have the chip, and now, not too long later, they're saying this is now no good.
Yeah, well, and that kind of points out the importance. If you slide your card in, McGraw, enter your PIN, you pull your card out, and if it tugs or if it gives or if it doesn't slide out of that slot, that could be an indicator that somebody has stuck a shim in there and is trying to take your card information. Unfortunately, it would be too late because if you're pulling the card out, then you've already made your transaction.
Right.
And unfortunately, given it up. So
That's
make sure
point.
you keep tab of your accounts and your balances, transactions as often as possible.
And they're saying the phone is probably more secure now than anything?
Yeah, but I suspect that somewhere around the bend, somebody will figure out a way to take information off of that. But
Right.
You walk in with your phone and you hold it close to the reader or the cash register, push your thumb onto the screen, and the transaction is done that way. Money is automatically debited. At least there's no physical contact. Maybe it'll thwart them for a few months anyway.
What a world. Jim Ryan, be good. Thanks for checking in.